Hi everyone, I'm Isla Monical. I'm Miss Randolph County's Teen 2024. I'm the founder and creator of You Know Me, Not My Story, and the series You Know Them, Not Their Story. Welcome to the 15th episode of You Know Them, Not Their Story, featuring Sarah Beth Howard, Miss Sandhills 2024. Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
All right, let's jump right into this. Tell me about your CSI.
So my community service initiative is Before It Starts, which focuses on really kind of all aspects of natural disaster preparedness. I'm from Eastern North Carolina, which so are you. So both of us are not a stranger to hurricanes, but in 2018, I we were impacted by Hurricane Florence, and my neighborhood was completely flooded, and I was cut off from the outside world for 10 days. And so I do a lot of working with organizations like the Red Cross, a lot of working with community leaders and local governments to advocate for why safe infrastructure matters, what steps we should take on an individual level to keep our homes safe, and how we can help individuals and communities that have been impacted.
hmm So, what is your story?
Well, that's a little bit um, about, my community service initiative because it's impacted my life so much. Um, but right before Hurricane Florence happened, I was in a car accident that totaled my car. I flipped it end over end. And so I went from dealing with that. I was 16 years old, had had my license for 4 months, had the coolest car ever, to, having literally nothing. I had damage to my home. I didn't have a car anymore. I was scared to get on the roads. I was scared, you know, kind of for my life in this one aspect, and then everything changed into the next. And so a lot of it was grappling with it and learning how to adapt with it. I've dealt with generalized anxiety disorder for the majority of my life. I was diagnosed when I started high school. And so it's been a lot of overcoming and a lot of, finding what's next and adapting to things as they come. And that's been a big part of my story. But if you want to hear more about particularly what happened in Hurricane Florence and what inspired that, my memoir will be coming out hopefully in May. That talks about my story.
Great. So, how can North Carolinians better prepare for natural disasters before they happen?
Well, it's about taking a look at what are your needs in your home. So, starting out, everybody needs an emergency kit, and it's not just a North Carolinian issue. That's going to be something, no matter where you live, the kind of things that you're going to put in it are going to change and going to be different. But do you have a at least 3 day supply of food? Of course, I was cut off for 10 days, so needed more than that. Do you have water if your water is going to be impacted? It isn't always, but it could be. Do you have emergency supplies like a first aid kit, a whistle just in case you get trapped somewhere? Think like the Titanic when they have to blow the whistle to get
Mhm.
rescued. A glow stick, lanterns. For me, it was really important. We learned to have cleaning supplies, Febreze fabric spray, so that we're keeping up with the damage and the flood and just the grossness of the natural disaster. But one thing that you can do is advocate for safe infrastructure overall in your community. If Pages Creek, which is near where I live, wasn't so damaged from pollution and from neglect over however many years, we probably wouldn't have seen as intense flooding because those ecosystems are going to be our first line of defense from natural disasters. So it's a little bit of environmental justice that needs to happen, individual preparedness that needs to happen, and then as a community advocating for infrastructure. I think in Zebulon, the Little River Dam is still in disrepair. So what are steps that we can do to make sure that we're prepared for the next time that floods?
Mhm. So, through your reign as Miss Sandhills and as Miss Zebulon before, how have you made a difference with your CSI?
I like to, one thing that I've done is been able to raise money for emergency kits and raise emergency supplies. It's something that I was able to help, particularly with Wake County, and distribute those so I meet the individual needs. But something that I've been working towards as Miss Sandhills and hopefully as Miss North Carolina in June is is how can I make greater change? Yes, I can impact one person's life by providing an emergency kit for free, but what are ways that I can impact others and encourage them to go on and make an impact? And I think the best way to do that is through storytelling. I'm sure you agree because I'm on this podcast right now talking about my story. But that's why I chose to write my memoir and to share that, because it's so much more of a tangible thing if I can look and impact you through my story and make you feel the way that I felt versus, just telling you why natural disaster preparedness is important. And there's so many other stories I would encourage people to read. Zaytoon is one by David Eggers, which is about Hurricane Katrina, and that's a true story about a family that was displaced. So it started out as kind of how can I help people on the individual level, and has evolved into, how can I really change people's minds.
Mhm. So, who or what inspired you to compete in the Miss America system?
I will never forget. I talk about this all the time. I will never forget the first time I met Arlie Honeycutt. I was, I think, 9 years old. I was at the Miss Kinston competition, which is not even a competition anymore. I was a Carolina princess and an OLM queen for North Carolina people that are familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding Little Miss. But I will never forget, she got on stage and she sang Taylor the Latte Boy. And then I went backstage and was doing the Carolina Princess stuff. And she bent down and was talking to me and really inspired me and encouraged me to go farther. And I never thought that I could. I kind of held myself back for so long. I tried to compete in the teen program. I competed in think 3 locals my junior year of high school, and that was when the cutoff would be in my senior year. And I never won a team title. And so going into Miss, I really had no intention of winning my first Miss competition, and then I did. And then I made so many amazing connections that you kind of get the pageant bug. You
Mm-hmm.
want to stay in it and want to continue to be a part of the Miss America organization. But ultimately, it was Arlie Honeycutt squatting down and talking to 9-year-old me, the reason I'm here today.
Yeah. I remember I did Spivey's Corner and I fell in love with Miss America. I mean, I'd already been around many Miss North Carolinas, Miss North Carolinas
Mhm.
Outstanding Teens, all of them. But I never thought of myself as doing it. So I
Mhm.
was like, you know what? We're just gonna do this. We're
Mhm.
just gonna see what happens. And then I begged my mom if we could do sweeps, but we did not do sweeps. So then I went back again the next season.
Mhm.
Didn't get anything. Okay, we'll try again. The next season. And then I start the first season of this year, which was your competition.
Mhm.
And I still didn't get anything. And then next competition, I win. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
And I think that so much of the beauty lies in that. It's not necessarily, this organization not as necessarily, who's going to make top 5 of Miss America. It's the people that we're meeting on the local level. I wouldn't be here if I showed up to the local level and everybody was mean and nasty and terrible. Nobody would compete again. But it's people, it's these connections that we make on the local level. The people that, sit down and talk to us that you think maybe would have never given you the time of day, and then they do, and people that you've been following on social media and building these connections and building those relationships. And that's why I love this organization.
Mhm. All right, well, we are all done.
All right. Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be on here. Thank you for having me. I know I
Of
was supposed
course.
to be on yesterday and was at work literally so late and totally forgot. I'm so sorry about that, but
No, you're fine. Don't worry. All
well,
right,
absolutely.
we're all good. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
Glad I
Thank you
could
so
share
much for
my
coming
story.
on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.